I've been spending a lot of time amongst very smart people lately, and I am not that person at all. Like, I'm not as smart as them at all. I just happen to be super lucky to get into some programs and get into the university that I'm in which there are a lot of people who are very smart and emotionally and mentally intelligent. A lot of people around me have very great achievements, and I kind of actively searched for getting into these kind of communities because I was under the impression that as you stay more in those communities and as you surround yourself by more and more smart people, then you're gonna end up being smart yourself. And although I do think that's true, and I do think by me spending time in these communities, I think my IQ was raised by some numbers just because I spent time with these people, just because I kind of got the chance to get some mental frameworks that they have and like see how they think and see how they like literally see the world and how their world works, because I used to be a like normal person. I'm still a normal person. I just know these things that I don't always apply, but I know of them now. So I found 5 mental models that usually smart people do and very like genius people do, and they always kind of think in this way. And if you think in this way, I don't think you would become a genius, but I definitely think you would level up your thought process and the things that you can achieve way more than if you wouldn't be doing these things. The most important one is the first principle thinking. And I didn't know this was a thing, but it is. Einstein said that if you give me an hour to solve a problem, I'll be thinking for 55 minutes on what the best question is for that problem. And the idea is that these people don't just take assumptions as they are, and they don't just take problems as they are. They usually break them down a lot in their thinking process, and they go through various like iterations of breaking down the problem until they get to like a very specific narrow down thing that basically is at the core of that problem. And this is also called like stripping it down to like the fundamental truth of the situation that you're in or the problem that you're solving. So for example, you want to start a YouTube channel and you want to grow your subscribers. Instead of like looking at maybe what other people are doing and what are like in copying what they're doing, you can think of like what are the fundamental truths of this problem that I'm facing, or like this challenge that I'm taking on. So like you would think about what makes people click, what makes a good thumbnail, what people like to see, why do people watch YouTube in the first place, why do people subscribe to channels. And if like the assumption would be you have to post daily to grow on YouTube, then you would have to think like to why is that, why do I really have to? Are there channels that grew immensely without posting daily, but do they have a lot more to them, or like they have a bigger team and stuff like that? One thing you can do to practice this thing is to take a common belief or like something you believe in and break it down to very small parts, like small principles, first principles, like things that are undeniably true, like you cannot reject those things. So for example, you can take a common belief like you have to learn the grammar and the vocabulary of a language to be able to learn a language. And then you can take it down, break it down into first principles. One thing language is used for is communication. You cannot deny that language is mainly used for communication. So by that definition, you would say that understanding and being able to express yourself is better than memorization. Like you can communicate very well with very limited vocabulary and basically no grammar. Like people will understand you. And children do learn languages without studying any grammar in the beginning, and they do a very good job at it. So by those standards, if communication is your main goal, you would just start speaking in the first place. And you can use like AI to train with. You can just send your native speaker friend like a paragraph of you writing literally gibberish in that language, and they would like correct you. And yeah, you do need to learn vocabulary, but what if you learn only the like, I don't know, 100 200 most common words and then learn more afterwards, like not just start with a bunch of vocabulary about tomatoes and I don't know, about vegetables and fruits and I don't know, desk, microphone. You don't need that in a daily conversation. You can just say, oh, that green thing over there in Spanish if you want to refer to a plant. Another thing that very smart people do is to always look at the inverted version of the problem. So thinking backwards to avoid like failing, not necessarily to see success. So instead of focusing on how to succeed, you would literally think back and would think about the steps that would take you to complete failure or some sort of failure. So for example, if you want to get healthier, instead of asking what can get me healthy, you can ask what makes me unhealthy in the first place, and how did I get unhealthy, or like how do I get more unhealthy than I am right now. So you can make a like list of, oh, I'm eating too much junk food, or I'm not exercising at all. I'm not sleeping well, I'm stressed. And then put those things down. Like, if I don't sleep more than 6 hours a day, I'm gonna be super unhealthy. Or if I eat junk food every day, I'm gonna be super unhealthy. Make a list of 3 to 5 things that will lead you to that failure, and then you avoid those things. You don't think of the things that lead you to success, you think of the things that avoid failure, and that will lead you to some sort of success eventually. So I think you can literally apply this to in your daily life and practice it. It's to find a problem or a project that you're working on, or something that you're doing in your daily life, and literally find the 5 things or 3 things that would make that thing fail completely, miserably, and then just avoid those things. Not just say that you're gonna avoid them, actually make a plan, like actively try to avoid those things. Another thing genius people do is always connect different industries, different domains, different mental models and ways of thinking, different angles and perspectives of thinking of one thing. To do this in your daily life is to expose yourself constantly to learning new things in different fields, even if you're not going to be the best in that specific field. Like, a lot of very smart people that I have around me are learning very random things. Like, for example, I've been in a camp and everyone was learning how to juggle, and I was like, why are you doing this? And like, they're like, oh, it's just fun. But it's not actually only fun. Like, there are very few people who are actually gonna literally start learning how to juggle out of nowhere, you know. It's actually a very cool thing that you're learning there, which is coordination with your hands, and like, you're learning something that is not that hard, but that everyone can do, and you're challenging yourself to learn that thing, although it's optional. There are a lot of math people that read a lot of like literature, and learning those things makes you see a lot of things from different perspectives. Like, if you read a literature book or like on how to write, and then you solve like another problem unrelated, then you will have that thing in your mind that you can always go through new ideas from that. One way in which you can do this, and I started to do myself, is think of one thing you want to learn every week and actually take 1 hour to learn that thing. Like, if you want to learn or understand economics, or if you want to learn and understand design, then you can take 1 hour and just try to learn as much as possible in that hour about that thing. And trust me, at some point you're gonna learn like a lot of things, a lot of bits and pieces from a lot of industries. That diversity, it's not gonna make you a full generalist, but it's gonna make you the person that people go through to connect ideas and make things possible. You can even start with like a super fun like mental exercise of like, you find something in your house or like just a problem that you might have, and you can ask, oh, how would an artist, engineer, or like entrepreneur solve this thing? And then write the 3 approaches that they would have, and like actually go into their minds and see how they would approach that thing. Of course, another thing smart people do is always think about long-term things, not only short-term. Like, most people think 1 step ahead or 2 steps ahead. Geniuses think like 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. Want to basically predict unintended consequences. So for example, you can say, oh, I want to cut costs in this business that I have. Well, if I cut costs, then I get more profits, which is good. But then after a while, I will have a lower quality service, and that will make some customers be unsatisfied, so they will leave. That will lead me to lower profits in the end. Of course, you can go even further with this, and like on different dimensions too. This also helps you not be stuck in decisions. Like, every time you make a decision, you can think in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and see like, how would this decision affect my life in 1, 3, 5 years. And if it doesn't have any effect, then it literally does not matter what you choose. But if it does, then you can think ahead, and like, it will actually impact your life in a meaningful way, then you should make the decision best for your future self, less for your present self. Related to the third idea, innovation comes from combining a lot of fields. And this can go through either you learning those things in your like 1 hour a week thing, or constantly collaborating with people from very different fields. And having a diverse friend group is so important, like across, like, I don't know, interests and passions and work fields, because you can always get diverse opinions about anything that you say, even if it's just like a normal conversation that you're having. But also, a lot of the bigger innovations in our world come from combining 2 very random or seemingly random subjects. So if you're interested in 2 different subjects, for example, if you're interested in AI and psychology and music, you can create an AI that looks at your facial expression and create music based on what it analyzes from your face. One thing to practice this is to pick 2 random subjects, like very random, and then try to create something that merges the 2 that has not been created before. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to watch a video on what to learn with AI and what are some skills that you should have and can definitely learn by just ChatGPTing some things for a few hours, then you should watch this video. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed. Yes, bye bye.